Imagine it's Christmas morning, 1975. You rip open the wrapping paper, and there it is, the Beano Annual. A chunky hardback, Dennis the Menace grinning straight at you from the cover. You flip it open, write your name neatly inside the front page, and before you know it, the rest of the day disappears. Your parents paid about 75p for it. But here's the thing. That same Christmas, a single £1 note could get you something just as special. A Star Wars action figure still sealed on its card, a handful of Matchbox cars, a chart-topping vinyl single. Back then, £1 wasn't just money, it was power. For kids growing up in the 1970s, weekly pocket money was usually around 10 to 20 pence. Saving a whole pound could take months. But once you finally had it, that big green note you could fold twice, it unlocked a world of possibilities. Woolworths, the corner shop, the Argos catalogue your mum called the Book of Dreams. So let's rewind to a time before credit cards ruled Christmas, when a single pound bought memories that lasted a lifetime. Here are 15 things £1 could genuinely buy you in 1970s Britain. When Palitoy introduced Star Wars action figures to the UK in 1978, every child wanted one. Luke, Leia, Darth Vader, Stormtroopers. Those iconic 3¾ figures sat on shop shelves priced at 99p, and in some places, simply £1. Think about that. For £1, you owned a piece of the biggest movie phenomenon the world had ever seen. Each figure was sealed to cardboard backing with the famous Palitoy logo. You could see the character through the clear plastic bubble, lightsaber tucked neatly beside them, blaster molded in grey plastic. Kids saved for weeks. They circled them in catalogues. They begged relentlessly. And when Christmas morning came and a Star Wars figure appeared under the tree, it wasn't just a toy. It was proof that dreams came true. Today, a mint, carded 1978 Luke Skywalker can sell for £300, sometimes even £500. An original Boba Fett can fetch thousands. But back then, all it took was a quid. Matchbox superfast cars ruled playgrounds everywhere. Launched in 1969 to compete with Hot Wheels, these die-cast metal cars with low-friction wheels flew across bedroom carpets and school desks alike. They cost between 22p and 35p each, which meant for £1, you didn't buy one car. You bought 3 or 4. You'd walk out of Woolworths clutching a paper bag filled with metallic purple racers, lime green sports cars, and bright orange fire engines. The paint gleamed, the wheels spun effortlessly, and those tiny boxes rattled perfectly when you shook them. Boys traded them like currency. A rare model could be swapped for 3 common ones. And if you owned the yellow plastic carry case, the one that held 48 cars, you were playground royalty. Today, vintage Matchbox cars in good condition sell for £20, £50, even £100 for rare models. Back then, 4 of them cost less than a Mars bar does today. Airfix kits taught patience and pain. The small Series 1 kits, sold in plastic bags with paper header cards, cost around 25p to 35p. Spitfires, Messerschmitts, Hurricanes. For £1, you could buy 3 kits, maybe even 4 if you haggled at a market stall. Saturday afternoons were spent at the kitchen table, tube of polystyrene glue beside you, fingerprints smudged all over the canopy. That sharp plastic smell filled the room as you carefully tried to slot tiny landing gear into place, tongue sticking out in concentration. The glue never dried fast enough. The decals always wrinkled, and at least once you glued your fingers together. But when you finally held up that finished Spitfire, painted dull green and brown, you'd built something. You'd earned it. Today, vintage Airfix kits in original packaging can sell for £30 or more. Back then, they were just pocket money projects. Clackers were chaos on a string. 2 hard acrylic balls attached to a cord with a plastic handle in the middle. The goal was simple. Swing them hard enough to smash together above and below your hand. The noise echoed through playgrounds and living rooms like gunfire. They cost around 50p to 75p, well within the £1 limit, and they were everywhere in the early 70s. Kids mastered the rhythm. Clack, clack, clack. The faster you went, the louder it got, and the more impressed your mates were. The problem: They didn't just clack, they shattered. Balls exploded mid-swing, sending sharp plastic shards flying. Schools banned them. Parents hid them. And by the mid-70s, they vanished from shelves completely. But for a brief, glorious moment, clackers were the ultimate Christmas gift. Loud, dangerous, and unforgettable. Today, vintage clackers sell for £20 to £40 on eBay, mostly to adults who still remember the bruises. Top trumps turned playtime into a numbers war. Launched in the UK around 1977, these decks featured cars, tanks, planes, and even horror monsters. Each card listed stats: top speed, horsepower, firepower, terror rating. They cost around 50p to 60p a pack. You shuffled the deck, dealt the cards, and read out your best stat. If your Porsche 911 beat your mate's Ford Escort, you won the card. Winner took all. Arguments broke out constantly. Acceleration versus cylinders. Bomb load versus firepower. Friendships were tested daily. Every lad had a favorite deck stuffed into a coat pocket, corners bent, cards grubby from hundreds of playground battles. For £1, you could buy a pack and still have change for sweets. Today, vintage top trumps decks sell for £10 to £30. Back then, they turned every break time into war. The Beano Annual was a Christmas guarantee. Every year without fail, it appeared under the tree. A hardback packed with Dennis the Menace, Minnie the Minx, the Bash Street Kids, and Roger the Dodger. It smelled of fresh paper and printer's ink. It cost between 60p and 85p. Inside, the front cover was always the same box. This book belongs to. You'd write your name carefully, sometimes adding the year, then lose yourself in it for hours, rereading strips you already knew by heart. It wasn't flashy, it wasn't electronic, but it was dependable. Today, 1970s Beano Annuals sell for £5 to £15, but the memory of opening one on Christmas morning, priceless. 7-inch vinyl singles were pure magic. In the 1970s, they cost around 40p to 75p. For £1, you could buy the #1 hit and still have change. Slade's Merry Christmas Everybody in 1973 cost about 50p. You'd rush to the record player, slide the disc from its paper sleeve, and gently place it on the turntable. The needle dropped with a soft crackle, then music. Your music, music you owned. Some singles had picture sleeves, others didn't. But slowly you built a collection, one song at a time. Today, original 70s singles sell for £5 to £20, some rare ones for far more. But back then, for less than £1, you owned the charts. Cadbury selection boxes were Christmas in cardboard form. Not plastic trays, proper boxes you could shake and hear the bars slide inside. They cost around 40p to 65p for the small ones. Inside, a curly whirly, a fudge, a crunchy, a small dairy milk, a couple of buttons. You rationed them carefully, one a day, maybe two if you felt brave. The variety was the best part. Today, selection boxes cost £3 to £5. Back then, chocolate was cheap, and Christmas lasted longer. Marbles were playground money. A big net bag cost around 25p to 50p and came stuffed with glass marbles, cat's eyes, oilies, and one prized shooter. Every break time meant marbles. A circle scratched in the dirt, 3 marbles each. Knock them out, keep what you win. The best players had hundreds stored in tobacco tins. Rare marbles were traded like shares. A pearly cat's eye could buy 5 standard ones. For £1, you could buy 2 bags and still have change. Marbles weren't toys, they were status. And when you look back now, that single pound note did so much more than buy things. It bought anticipation, patience, imagination. So what does £1 buy today? Not much. Certainly not a Star Wars figure. Definitely not a fleet of Matchbox cars. But in the 1970s, £1 was magic. If you remember saving pocket money in a tin, if you circled toys in the Argos catalogue, then this story belongs to you. Share it, subscribe, and remember a time when £1 wasn't just money, it was everything.